Happy July, everybody! Did you know that some video games are coming out this month? It's true, I assure you, I looked it up. Let me tell you all about them like I do each and every month in these fun videos. Here are July 2024's biggest game releases. Before we get into it, the usual disclaimer that we try really hard to make these videos as informative, comprehensive, and accurate as possible, but release dates get shuffled around all the time, and human beings are prone to making the occasional mistake. So apologies if we miss a spot here and there. Last month, I think I said a game was leaving Steam Early Access when it was in fact coming to Steam Early Access, or vice versa, and man, one guy in the comments was really mean about that. The rest of you, though, were really cool, so thanks for that. Anyway, here's what's coming out this month. On July 2nd, Final Fantasy XIV's latest expansion, Dawntrail, is coming to all the platforms that FF14 is on, and I Dawntrail-y know what to say about this one other than it's the 5th major expansion to this massively massive MMO, and one of the 2 new jobs is Pictomancer, where you fight using a magical paintbrush and easel, which sounds like an evolved form of a Scribblenaught or Harold and the Purple Crayon, but it's probably more complicated than that. If you want to fight stuff with more conventional means, there's also the first Descendant that day, a slick-looking, free-to-play looter shooter that has you squatting up with some pals, shooting stuff, and then subsequently looting it, as one does in that sort of game. If you want something a little goofier, there's also Hot Blood, a physics-based 3D beat-em-up which looks kind of like Lollipop Chainsaw running on the engine of an early 2000s Leisure Suit Larry game. That's on the PlayStation, Switch, and PC. Outlanders 2 Second Nature, the follow-up to the quaint and colorful town builder, hits iOS by way of Apple Arcade. Android users, don't get green with envy, like your speech bubbles, because on the 4th you get Zenless Zone Zero, which hits iOS, PC, and PS5 as well. This is the latest from MiHoYo, the studio behind Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail. This one looks to have a similar appeal, but it's in an urban sci-fi setting. On the 5th, The Legend of Heroes Trails Through Daybreak finally gets a fully localized Western release on Switch, PC, and the PlayStations. This one's been out in Japan for a few years now, and it took so long getting localized that a fan translation was released and subsequently shut down by the publisher. Here's hoping that Trails Through Daybreak's second installment, which came out in Japan in 2022, gets a Western release before anyone gets lawyers sicked on them. On July 9th, Arc of Charon drops, and that sounds like a big boat full of women with Kate Gosselin haircuts who want to speak to a manager, but it's Charon with a CH, as in the ferryman of the dead in Greek mythology, and this is a survival game about building a fortress on the back of a big walking log, because of course it is. How could you not have guessed that? Also on July 9th is Once Human, a survival game of the multiplayer open world variety, and this one will have you and some pals running around a post-apocalyptic wasteland and fending off horrible things, including but not limited to a bus with human arms, which kind of looks like if Cat Bus from My Neighbor Totoro was funded by American tax dollars.
American Dream, best country.
Ace Combat 7 Skies Unknown has been on other platforms for like 5 years now, so its skies are somewhat known for everybody but Switch owners, but that changes on July 11th when the Fighter Flight Sim comes to Nintendo's TSA-compliant carry-on console. If you don't feel the need for speed that badly, but you still want to drive something around, Alaskan Road Truckers comes to PS5 and Xbox Series on the 11th as well, and I'm actually stoked to check this one out. This caught my eye a while back because while a lot of driving games have you stuck behind the wheel, this one has you getting out of your truck to chainsaw stuff that's in the road, or to change tires or pump gas, do stuff like that. The tagline for the game is, "Be a trucker, not a truck," and that cracks me up because it is accidentally really profound. It's saying like, be in control of your own destiny, not just a vessel for other people's crap that's moving through life because someone else is forcing it to. I think I made this exact same joke before when the game came out on PC, but I don't care. I find it amusing and I like talking about the truck. So let me talk about trucks sometimes. Good God, get off my case. If putting your foot on the gas sounds boring and you'd rather be putting it a bunch of other places much more violently, keep an eye out for Angerfoot on PC that day as well. And I'm sure I'm not the first person to describe it as John Kick, but that's exactly what it is. It's an FPS revenge story where you put your best foot forward and ride into a bunch of people's faces because revenge. Darkest Dungeon 2 is the sequel to the hit 2015 feel-bad roguelite where you and your party members will all die in horrible ways, and that's been on PC since last year, but on the 15th, PS4, PS5, and Switch owners can experience the same pain and suffering for themselves firsthand. On the 16th, Cataclismo comes to PC, which is a tower defense RTS that has you base building by day and then fending off hordes of monstrosities by night, but the base building looks a little more complex than your average drag and drop, and it was apparently inspired by LEGO, which is neat. Why don't we have more LEGO strategy stuff? I feel like that would be cool. College Football 25 comes to PS5 and Xbox Series on the 19th, or on the 16th if you pay extra for the Deluxe Edition. This is the first college football game to be published by EA in over a decade, due at least in part thanks to the legal battle that took place after the NCAA wasn't compensating players for having their names, images, and likenesses used in AAA video games. This time around, the NCAA name has been dropped from the box, but you can still expect to see several thousand real-world college athletes represented. Each player who agreed to appear allegedly received $600 and a copy of the game. I didn't say if it's a deluxe edition or not, but either way, it seems like kind of a shameless lowball on EA's part when you take into account how much they probably make from microtransactions in their games. Just gonna put that out there.
Hello, I like money.
Anyway, speaking of bloodsuckers, you can shoot a bunch of vampires in the face in the fast-paced FPS EvilVEvil, which drops on the 16th as well, even if you didn't pay extra for a deluxe version. That's on PS5, Xbox Series, and PC. Vampires are sort of like bats, and bats are sort of like birds, and that's a good enough segue to Flock, which is a charming-looking indie game out the same day where you and your friends fly around attracting a large flock of birds. And the birds are cute. Look at them go, look at all those birds. Squirrels are also cute and kind of like birds, and there's a squirrel game out a day later on PC, The Sacred Acorn, which is incongruously described as a cozy Souls-like. Sure, whatever, go nuts. Switch owners who want to make animals fight stuff also have something to say cowabunga about on the 17th as well, and that is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Splintered Fate coming to the console made famous by that guy who stomps on turtles. If you like video games that are about things much faster than turtles, Asphalt Legends Unite is about race cars, and this is a tuned-up console version of the hit mobile and PC arcade racer Asphalt 9 Legends, which adds a few new modes and features. On July 18th, the misleadingly titled Nintendo World Championships NES Edition comes to Switch, remixing a handful of beloved games for the original Nintendo with a focus on competitive play, much like the original extremely rare cartridge did. While the original was just Super Mario Bros., Tetris, and Rad Racer, this one adds challenge modes for a handful of other classics like Excite Bike, Donkey Kong, and the first two Zeldas. Now the big question is, has anybody gotten the Power Glove working with the Switch?
I love the Power Glove.
Somebody get Fred Savage and Jenny Lewis on the road. We're taking a road trip to California. I love the Wizard. It's so bad. Also on the 18th is Bo, Path of the Teal Lotus, a 2.5D platformer rooted in Japanese folklore with a gorgeous hand-drawn art style. That's on Switch, PC, and New Gen. If that's not your cup of tea, you can take a hike in Dungeons of Hinterberg on PC and the Xboxes. That is a fairly laid-back looking spin on an action RPG. If that's too laid back, there's also the more intense looking Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn on New Gen and PC, which will have fantasy melee combat, but also some old-timey muskets and blunderbusses and stuff like that. You might not have guessed it by the fact that there are actually textures in this game, but it's from the same studio that made Ashen, that low-poly co-op Souls-like that came back way back in 2018. On July 19th, there's Kunitsu-Gami, Path of the Goddess, which blends real-time strategy, tower defense, and Okami-esque visuals to have you fending off hordes of weird-looking yokai. You know, yokai, those little Japanese demons that get everywhere. I got some yokai lore for you. You know kappas? They're those little pervert turtle duck river demon guys. You probably run across one in a JRPG or an anime, but you know what they do? They try to steal a gold ball out of your butt. I'm not making this up. I mean, somebody made it up, but I'm not making it up. According to Japanese folklore, your soul is contained in something called a shirikodama, which is a little gold ball, and it's located in your butt. And the kappas try to take it out of there, so watch out for them.
Do you pledge your souls to the Kappa Brotherhood?
Hey, check out this model kit I made of a kappa drinking a 40. Look at him go. Wonder where he got that bracelet. Anyway, you can maybe protect your golden butt ball from kappas in Kunitsu-Gami on the PlayStations, Xboxes, and PC. On July 22nd, there's Broken Lens, a game about a little Wall-E-looking robot whose optical sensors are malfunctioning and your assistance is required spotting the differences between some pictures. That's on PC. On the 23rd, there's Exophobia, a retro-styled first-person shooter which kind of looks like someone reskinned the original Doom with the sprites of an NES game, like, I don't know, Master Blaster or something. And I mean that in a good way, and also I think that was kind of the point when they made this game. That is on everything. Out that day for everything but Switch is F1 Manager, which, you probably guessed, is about race cars, not the key that makes you accidentally open up the help menu on PC. Speaking of PC, Rawman finally leaves early access, and hoo boy, that's been cooking for quite some time. If you haven't been keeping track, this is sort of like Splatoon, except it's about a bunch of naked guys having soup fights. We did a Let's Play of this game in 2019. Look at how young I am. Still on the 23rd and still on PC is Weyrdlets, a chill-looking virtual pet game about some very nice but kind of weird-looking little critters. On PC, as well as Switch and New Gen, there's also the equally chill-looking first-person puzzle game, The Star named Eos, which is framed, pun intended, around photography. If you'd rather be pointing and shooting at a bunch of big bugs and also probably some robots or maybe like an octopus or something, look no further than Earth Defense Force 6, which lets you shoot all of those things and probably some even weirder stuff. That's out for the PlayStations and the PC on the 25th. If that sounds too stupid and you'd rather be challenged by puzzles, well, there's a Ranger, a role puzzling adventure for PS5, Switch, and PC, which shuffles some familiar ideas from JRPGs and puzzle games together to make something fresh. A considerably more colorful game that also involves clicking on little buildings and people is out on the 25th as well, and that is Kingdom Rush 5 Alliance, which is coming to PC and mobile. On the 26th, One Piece Odyssey Deluxe Edition comes to Switch, collecting the 2023 action RPG based on the beloved manga / anime / Netflix original, along with any bells and whistles that may have been tacked on since it launched. And finally, on the 30th, Deadlink comes to PS5 and Xbox Series. This hit PC last year, and since then, its fast-paced combat and cyberpunk sensibilities have netted it quite a few positive reviews on Steam. And there you go, we did it. Those are July's biggest game releases. Let us know what you're playing this month besides, Elden Ring and Destiny expansions. If we forgot anything, politely remind us what we left out. And if you're looking for a comprehensive way of keeping track of what's coming out and what already came out and what you want to play and what you already did play, check out IGN Playlist with this handy QR code or just a good old-fashioned link. They're gonna put it somewhere on the screen. Can I catch it? Where did it go? You click on it, do your thing. Anyway, huge thanks to everybody who helped pull this video together, like Amanda Medina, Logan Plant, and Chris Del Padre, unless somebody else edited the video, in which case thank you to that person, and no thanks to you at all, Chris Del Padre. See you next month. That was for everybody, not just Chris.